So, firstly, welcome to all. Now we will discuss our another topics, that is biodiversity, and further we will move towards distribution, a little bit distribution topic. Okay, so let's start. What is biodiversity? So, the term biodiversity was first coined by Walter G. Rosin in 1986, and the word biodiversity originates from the Greek word bios, which meaning life, and the diversitas, which is a Latin word which means variety or difference. So it is the combo of Greek and Latin word. The whole word biodiversity generally therefore means the variety of life. Biodiversity is a degree of variation of life. It is a measure of variety of organisms present in different ecosystems. Okay. Now, levels of biodiversity. We are having three levels of biodiversity. The first is genetic biodiversity, then species biodiversity, and the ecosystem or community diversity. Firstly, genetic biodiversity or diversity is the sum total of genetic information contained in a gene of individuals of plants, animals, or microorganisms that inhabit the earth. That plants, animals, we can also name here the flora and fauna. Now, we are having some example like maize. Okay, next one. Species biodiversity. Species diversity is the effective number of different species that are represented in a collection of individuals. Okay, so species diversity is the effective number of different species. We are having different species here, and that are represented in a collection of individuals. Here are some examples, and now we will move towards the community or ecosystem diversity. It is defined by the species that occupy a particular locality, and the interactions between them is known as community or ecosystem diversity. Here is forest ecosystem, the desert ecosystem, and the aquatic ecosystem. Threats to diversity or biodiversity. So what are the main threats to biodiversity, to decline the biodiversity? Or so we will discuss. There are two types of causes which are the threats to diversity. So natural causes, in which it included narrow geographical area. If the species having a narrow geographical area, it cannot survive very easily. That is, of course, it cannot change. It cannot develop the changes or variety. So it is the threat to biodiversity. Next one is low population, of course. Then low breeding rate. If they are not having the good biotic potential or breeding rate, how can it possible to be development of biodiversity, or we can say how can it is possible to development of variety in lives? It is not. So that is a threat to biodiversity. And natural disasters, of course. If suppose if in an ecosystem or in an area the diversity is developing, and suddenly some natural disasters or natural calamities destroying them, so what will happen next? Of course they had to start again. They had to start again from the very initial point. So that are the threats or natural causes to biodiversity. Next we are having anthropogenic causes, that is man-made, that is human-made. So the pollution, which are of course causing the main factor of pollution is humans itself. Next one is hunting the organisms for their own consumption is of course a threat to biodiversity. For the next one is global warming and climate change. If they are the species, if we suppose to that they will grow by the climate change, or by their unfavorable conditions. So by the climate change, it is of course very harmful to their surviving. And next one is agriculture. If we will decline all the forest or deforestation, then what will happen next? Of course we will develop our own ecosystem, the crop ecosystem, but it is not natural. So it will of course threat to biodiversity. Next one, how we can conserve our biodiversity. What are the techniques to conserve biodiversity? We are having some techniques, like first one is biodiversity inventories. We can invest in biodiversity inventories. Next one is conserving biodiversity in protected habitats. Next one, the conserving biodiversity in protected habitats, like we have two types, in situ and ex situ. The in situ conservation here is if we are conserving the organism in which it is on survive, or their habitat area is known as in situ. While if we conserve the organism or habitat, no, not habitat, if we conserve the organism or any species other than their on surviving area or their habitat, is known as ex situ conservation. Like examples are seed bank, gene bank, pollen bank, or DNA bank. They all are the examples of ex situ conservation. Now we are having our little bit of distribution topic, so we will cover it here. The territory a species lives in is called as its distribution. A species living in any territory or any area is known as its distribution, which just means where in the world that species naturally occurring is known as distribution, or geographic area where individual of a species occur. Types of distributions of organism, we are having three types of distributions here: random distribution, uniform distribution, and clump distribution. So random distribution is the probability of locating individuals at a point in the populated area is equal for all the points that is equally located. It is relatively rare in mature, and it is expected to occur only when the environment is uniform and the resources are evenly spread. Okay, if the resources, of course, if these resources are evenly spread, it will occur in that, like this. Like this. So this one is the example. The example of random distribution here is dandelion. Dandelion. What is it meaning? Dandelion. Okay. It is a weed, and the seeds of dandelion evenly spread. That is why it is known. It is known to be the example of random distribution here. Okay. Next one we have our second one, that is uniform distribution here. It occurs where competition between individuals is severe and individuals are evenly spaced and tend to be as far as apart from each other. That means in a particular area. Suppose in a particular area, in a low space area, remember it, because competition always occurs in a low space area or low nutritional area in which members are high but resources are limited. Okay, so if individuals, like we can say, wherever it is occurring, but the competition between individuals is very severe, remember it, like desert animals, the sources are limited while organisms are high. Now we are in clump distribution here. The individuals of a population are found scattered in a group here and there. This is the most common pattern of distribution and result from non-uniformity of the habit or attraction among individuals. Of course, here we can say in a particular area, the organisms are occurring in groups like this. One group is here and another one is here. The organism occurring in a group like this. So they all are the examples of clump distribution here. The individuals of a population are found scattered in a group here and there, wherever. This is the most common pattern of distribution and result from non-uniformity of the habit or attraction among individuals. The example are bees. Okay, thank you.